Ladies and gentlemen, here we are, episode 17 of Iron Age Radio, right here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, the hub of Canadian Strongman, truly. We're here at the Iron Age Gym in the west end of Winnipeg. I'm joined by my esteemed guest, Winnipeg's strongest hairstylist, Jan Sarame.
Hello. And Honey is under the table.
And Honey is under the table as well. We're here with the whole family besides Dolly today. How's everything been with you?
Good.
Were you sad you weren't at the Arnolds?
Yeah, very sad.
Yeah.
The whole time I was wishing I was there, losing my voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch. It was probably one of the more talking about the Arnold Strongman Classic. Probably one of the more fun competitions that we've seen in the last while. I think the pro shows, new guys pushing the vets in a real way, and creating new stars.
Yeah.
Right before our very eyes. We'll get into that in a little bit, but some of the other happenings of the Arnolds was the Arnold Pro-Am, which our Manitoba friends Jan Ballot, Gord Grimolfsson, Jocelyn Grimolfsson, and Andrew Langelar all competed at. The first three in the Masters categories, and Andrew in the Open category. So I think that most people know by now that the Arnold Pro-Am didn't exactly go the way that the athletes or the organizers or really anybody wanted or expected it to go.
Right.
You're in the know on this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it started late.
3 hours late.
Way late, and it affected the competition in a very significant way where they had to cut an event at the end, and people were being rushed out, and warm-ups were cut, and all kinds of stuff. And instinctually, I want to be like, well, that's Strongman, because I've been there. Like I've been in those competitions before, where you're there all fucking day and things run behind and whatever. But I didn't travel as far as those people did,
right?
And I didn't put in it wasn't a show at the level of what the Arnold is supposed to be.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be it is a very, very important big competition for people. To make it to the Arnold is a very big deal. The Pro-Am or the Classic or anything. Just to be at that expo and competing is a very big deal in any of the sports that they have there. So to have that diminished for people, that sucks.
Yeah.
Especially when you train that last event.
Well, and people aren't just from North America.
Right. Yeah, there's Europeans
some people that came from Europe. Yeah. I know Billy's family came from Indonesia, I want to say.
Really?
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a big deal for the people who were there, and I'm hesitant to shit on the promoters or whatever, because when we're talking about something that's like the size of the Arnold's, I would be very surprised if it was just they woke up late,
right?
Or they were just sitting on their asses and being like, "Oh, I guess we'll get started now," whatever. I'm sure it's a case of they're waiting for somebody who's waiting for somebody. It's like when there's a building being built downtown. It's like the electricians are sitting there waiting for the plumbers, who are sitting there waiting for the scaffolding guys, who are waiting for the, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just there's so many moving parts to that thing.
A lot of it is out of your control. And
I would assume so.
I know that they didn't mean to do that, probably. If I was to guess. Hold on, I got to get my pillow.
And there obviously are amends to be made and apologies to be made and stuff to the athletes, to the spectators, all that stuff, which I'm not saying isn't coming or anything, whatever. But there's I'm hesitant to just go right to blaming the organizers. Obviously, I've ran enough competitions myself to know that sometimes things just happen out of your control.
Yeah.
But I do have a lot of sympathy for the athletes who got the short end of the stick in a big way on that one.
Yeah.
Especially, man, that sandbag event that they were training was brutal. It was brutal.
Yeah, and I mean it's obviously going to be a heavy show, so you prepare for that. Yeah. So it sucks that you can't do it, right?
But all that being said, congratulations to our Manitoba competitors who did outstanding, especially Jocelyn Grimolfsson.
Yeah.
Who placed 4th overall.
Yeah.
She's having, 2024 she went to OSG, but the last several months, this year, you want to call it, has been outstanding for her. And everybody in Manitoba knew that she was really good. Everyone knows that she's a very, very talented, capable, strong woman. But it's really, really fun to see her kind of suddenly secretly becoming one of the best master strong women in the world.
Right.
Which I don't for as good as I thought she was, I didn't know that. And I'm not sure she knew that. And I'm not sure anybody knew that. And all of a sudden she shows up here and she's just like competing with the very best and right
with a smile on her face the whole time,
always with a smile on her face too.
Yeah.
She's a really great person to have at your competitions for that reason alone. But congrats to her and congrats to everybody who had really big showings. We had also from Western Canada, we had Josh Cloherty in the 120 who I believe sustained an injury, so I don't think he finished the competition, which is unfortunate. He's the guy who's been plagued with back injuries in the past and stuff, so I think that he's a little bit of that coming back. And Billy Hornaday from BC, who was also in the open category. None of those guys made the finals, but again, when we're talking about losing an event, it's like you never get that closure now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're always going to be thinking that I would have had it if I...
Yeah.
Because a lot of people bank on certain events to get their points. Yeah,
and
right?
And we talk about, Billy and Andrew are both guys who are good at like loading, carrying, dynamic stuff.
Yeah.
Now those were very, very heavy bags, so it's not like a typical like run and gun kind of thing that that some guys might be better at. But you never know what could have happened, I guess. And but you know what? Hopefully,
this is the thing that people stay awake all night thinking about too.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, I could have had that.
I'm just glad that I wasn't there. I'll just say that. I'm glad that I wasn't there competing, because that would have been very, very frustrating. And I think that it'll be if nothing else, it'll make for a great war story.
It also sucks to start 3 hours late, because as an athlete, you don't want to be like too hyped up too early.
Absolutely.
And you have to have that skill of like reeling it back in.
Right.
Because you can't be that hyped for 3 hours to not start.
You just can't maintain that.
Yeah.
No. And I remember when I was like doing one of my first like competitions, I was riding with McDole and Kyle Rayner to Winkler. And I remember that just them talking back and forth, and one of them mentioned how they listen to just like completely different music on the way there. Like they don't listen to anything that's like heavy or hard or rap or whatever.
Right.
It's just something that's just going to chill them out, whatever. And because you can't be that high, that far out from a competition
without coming down. And then how do you get it back up again?
Absolutely. And you because I have seen that too, where guys getting themselves hyped up like the morning of, like before they head there and stuff, and it's just like you only have so much of the juice in the tank when it comes to that kind of stuff. And that was an early lesson for me, was the idea of like maintaining your composure for as long as you possibly can.
Right.
Like you've ridden with me in the car. You've ridden with me in the car to competitions before.
Yeah.
Where it's like Randy Travis or whatever we might feel like listening to, that's not in any way going to get me like too hyped.
Right. And we can't talk about it for too long either. Like we can't talk about the competition or whatever.
Right.
Just because it's going to stress you out more we talk about it. Yeah.
If I have to be kind of careful with like my visualization techniques and stuff, because I'll sit there like later at night and all of a sudden my heart rate starts going up and I start getting into like this like state of arousal. And okay, Jan. You all right? Arousal. Are you okay there, buddy?
Yeah, it's just funny.
Yeah, you're doing all right. Okay. Great. But anyway, so respect to all the athletes who went through that. Like I said, if nothing else, take it as a cool war story that you went through one of the worst Arnold competitions,
right?
Maybe ever. I don't know. We have to look into the.
Well, we'll
see
next year.
We'll see next year. No, and hopefully, I think it's Strongman Corporation. Yeah, that's the Strongman Corporation and the Arnolds iron out the kinks. And next year it's a flawless endeavor.
Well, it's their first run of a pro-am.
I mean, you want to give them that credit, but like they've ran this show since like fucking...
They have simulators for this shit. Like they got machines
They
doing this.
They should have used AI to run the whole thing. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I would have done if I was them. I'm looking forward to a fully automatic AI experience for all the athletes in Manitoba this year. It'll be really, really exciting. But so with the less than stellar stuff out of the way, the Arnold Classic, the Strongman and Strongwoman, was a really, really, really great competition this year. It was really, really fun to watch. It was
really crazy. Like the whole time, you're just anxious.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And so we had Manitobans in general probably felt a little more connected to this competition with our boy Lucas Hatton in the competition, as well as Manitoba's new boy Alec Jose as a coach, having both Gabby Dixon and Inez Carrasquillo in the women's side of the competition. So I know that I feel like I know Inez, and we've talked to her like on FaceTime with Alec a couple times, but like I feel like I know her personally now, and I feel like I have a strong connection to her when she's like winning and losing and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just
I'm very invested.
It's a very different experience. Yeah, like it's the same thing that I have with like Sam or Mel or with Max or these people that I personally know.
Yeah.
You want them to do so well, and luckily, Inez and Lucas did exactly that.
Yep.
And they had both stellar showings in their own right. So we'll start off with the men's side of things. So Mitchell Hooper taking the win, nothing too shocking about that. But what was surprising about this was the way that he was pushed by Lucas Hatton.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Like he was, I mean, Lucas won the big jerk.
Yes.
And we knew that was going to happen, but
we hoped. Mitch Hooper's a guy who can pull something out at any given time like that.
I knew it was going to happen.
You knew, okay.
I believe in Lucas more than Tyler does.
I guess so.
But I've never seen Mitch Hooper be pushed the way that he was this weekend, and not to say that he doesn't work hard, but
he's skipped entire last events in the past.
Yes.
Because he doesn't need to do them.
Yeah.
And this show he could not do that.
He couldn't get a lead on him.
No.
Yeah.
So he couldn't get that running away with a score that he typically gets towards the end of a competition. Mm-hmm. And it was awesome to see that. It was awesome to see these new faces, like whether it was Lucas or if it was Andrade. These guys were pushing these guys in a way that was making it very challenging. And we started to see a little more of a mix-up than we might have expected to see. You know, I think that if you would have asked an average fan who's the 1-2 or who the 1-2-3 of this competition, I think most people would have said some combination of Mitchell Hooper, Thor Bjornsson, and Tom Stoltman.
Yeah.
Maybe Trey Mitchell.
Right.
But that's just not how it turned out. This is not what we saw, and it's might be the beginning of a new era. And I think that for people who are kind of sitting and watching the show now, you might have kind of started to see the beginning of something now.
Yeah.
Which is the reign of terror of Lucas Hatton.
Yeah. And Inez.
And Inez on the women's side too. And Inez has been terrorizing the women's side for a little while now, and so it's really, really fun to see. But so the one thing that I'll say too, though, that I didn't love about, I don't love the way about the Arnold or the Rogue does their competition, it's maybe because they have this CrossFit influence, I guess, is different. I don't know if you know this or not, but as opposed to all of the strongman competitions, every other strongman competition bases their order of the next event based on the scoring of the last event, right? You get first place, you go last, vice versa. Mm-hmm. The Arnold and the Rogue use the overall score for the whole thing.
Yes.
Which I think really takes away the ability for comebacks.
Yeah.
Because a guy, especially for a guy like Mitch Hooper, where he is so calculated and so he can get that ball rolling, and it's really, really hard to stop him once he gets the momentum, especially if he gets to go last in every event after going last after, say, like the second one, like he did on this one.
Right.
When he gets enough points that he just gets in the lead and he can just maintain that. I really think that's something that they have to change.
You lose the romance of someone sneaking one in on him.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because he's able to watch every single competitor go before him. Mm-hmm. So, and he's not usually the type of person to win every event.
No.
He gets second or third every event, and then he builds up the points.
And so, when we look at the major, and I mean, he does that. They do this at Giant, like they do it the traditional way at Giants Live, and he still wins those too.
Yeah.
But if we're looking at the major shows, what's the one that he didn't win last year? World's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
And they don't do it that way. Mm-hmm. So it allows, and I'm not saying that that's like, oh, that's exactly what happened, but it's just like it does create more of an opportunity for guys to have comebacks and to suddenly he's not in this comfortable position that he's in where he gets to just watch everyone go every single time.
Well, that's part of the game that you play with Strongman usually. Yeah.
And I think that's just like it's a strange rule to change. It would be like if you just had like a, if one of the major league one of the all-star games or whatever for hockey was just like, oh, we're also gonna go for 5 minutes less in each period. It's like, well, why? That's not the game. You know what I mean? It's just strange. So we started things off with the elephant bar deadlift. Fucking bored of these max deadlift events. I will say that. That's the one thing that as much as I love a deadlift, I fucking love doing deadlift events. I love seeing huge deadlifts. I fucking love deadlifting. But we got to stop with these multiple max deadlift events in a calendar year. It's just getting old. I
mean, it's become one of those staples.
But do like the Hummer tire.
Yeah.
They do something that's like distinctly the Arnold's, you know?
They want people to set records on the elephant bar for some reason.
I don't get that either.
because it just adds on to more of that controversy of like, well, it doesn't count because of this.
I guess that's what it is that like
Yeah.
if they do it on the elephant bar, they can just keep this fucking 501 story rolling.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't understand how they kind of all like pretended like it would just be a normal deadlift.
Right. It's not.
If he hit 501 on the elephant bar, and
Yeah.
it's just not. Like he's not wearing a suit, so credit for that. That's fucking hard.
Yeah.
But to hit 501 on a longer whippier bar, and pretend that it's the same as hitting on a deadlift bar, I just didn't really understand that. And then if we look at the other side of that, you know, this is where there's a little bit of noise being made, is that Lucy Underdown sets an awesome record
Yeah.
on the elephant bar deadlift, and she didn't get that same PO that payoff that Thor was offered for his. So,
I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about it because
please.
they were offering Thor, what is it, $100,000?
I think that's what it was.
If he was to complete the world record. And so he didn't get it.
Complete the world record's a funny way to put it.
Or whatever. If he was to take the world record. And Lucy set the women's record
Yeah.
for deadlift, which is
I'm just looking it up right now here. So she pulled 676.
676.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
Which is crazy. That's like absurd.
I know men that can't do that.
Yeah. I know the vast majority of men who can't do
Yeah.
that.
And I don't think she got
I don't
money
think she got a specific PO for that, no. And then, you know, if I'm to play devil's advocate, it's like there's just not the pomp and circumstance. The relatives are relatively new for women's deadlifting. You know,
But at least like
but something. You got to do something. You can't
$1,000?
Yeah, you can't just do nothing.
Give her a sticker.
Right.
I don't know.
Sorry, I'm getting over being sick here.
And what I also thought was interesting was the prize. The prize purse was posted on the women's side for whatever placing you got. This is the amount of money that you got.
Yeah.
Not on the men's side.
Okay, so this is something that I actually would like to touch on a little bit, which is the differences in men's and women's prize pools. Now, I think that it would be foolish to pretend that the women draw the same interest in the sport as the men. If we're just being honest about this, it's just not the case. The men draw more of the crowd than the women do. The women are absolutely exceptional, and they are growing their audience.
I think at this point now they have their own fan base.
I think that's true too.
Yeah.
I think
They're
there's
bringing
people,
in their own crowd.
I think there's people who go there specifically to see the women compete, but I don't think there's as many as people who go there to see the men compete.
Yeah.
I think that's just the honest truth of it.
Right.
And if we and I don't have the metrics in front of me, but just if we just use other sports as an example and whatever, and I think that Strongman does a much better example of bridging that gap than other sports do.
Right.
But we have to be realistic about it and understand that if they want to continue to draw like the best men to come do this competition, the prize money has to match that, and the women, I think they receive a good prize pool for their competition as well. But so I've spoken to somebody who's very high in the strong woman competition, like she's pro level, and she said that this like push to get women the exact same prize pools as men is what stifles a lot of the women's competitions.
Right.
Because these promotional companies, they can't afford to do that if the women don't bring in the same money.
They can't afford to do that twice.
It's like, why wouldn't
Yeah.
they do it? They would
Right.
do it. It's not some big conspiracy to keep women down. They would absolutely pay them if they were bringing in more money. They'd pay them more if they're bringing in more money.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they? It would be just good business. But when we start to have these things where we want to have exact same prize pools for the men and the women, completely ignoring what they bring in, that's when people start to cut out women's competition.
Right.
And that's where if you look at other major shows, there's not, when they do World's Strongest Man, there's no World's Strongest Woman next to that.
Right.
When they do Strongest Man on Earth, there's no Strongest Woman on Earth next to it, because they can't afford to give the same prize money. So in the interest of not seeming like they don't care about the women, they just don't do it. That's at least my interpretation of it. And there's also this athlete's interpretation of it. So I tread very carefully when I talk about this subject, because I'm not saying that women deserve less or they shouldn't get paid the same as the men. I'm saying strictly in terms of dollars and cents. It doesn't make sense for the promoter to put out that same money. And I hope within a couple of years, a few years, that's not the case anymore.
Yeah. I just thought it was weird how they didn't that they
But
went
that's-
through the
but
trouble to
that's-
post it and then not post the other one.
Right. But that's objectively not, like, say when Lucy Underdown breaks a record, like, fucking give her something.
Yeah.
That's simple. Especially when something
box
is
of
like,
donuts.
something, yeah. Especially when something as cool as a deadlift.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's something that, like, everybody can understand, like,
Everybody.
a deadlift.
And also, it was really annoying on the live stream comments. Every single second, it was like, when's Thor's deadlift? When's Thor's
Man.
deadlift? Oh my God. I wish that they would have a pinned comment at the top from Rogue
Yeah.
saying
The
X amount of minutes until Thor's deadlift.
if you ever want to just like melt your fucking brain out of your ears and just become immediately stupider and angry and
Yeah.
whatever, sit in that fucking live chat for a little
Yeah.
while. Holy
I was
smokes.
fighting people in the live
I
chat.
couldn't. I didn't even bother. I just like it was because it was not only is it people that are ill informed, it's apparently people who just hate strongman.
Or people
Like-
that hate women.
Well, they hate a lot, the women get a lot of hate, and that's
Oh my
ridiculous.
God. I was in the comments fighting for everybody.
But it's just like they're shitting on like the actual lifts and like
Yeah.
the sport and everything. It's like, what are you doing here then?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
why did you even click on this fucking link? I just
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I wouldn't go to the CrossFit competition and on the Rogue Invitational, or go to the bodybuilding section of the Arnold's and be like, what is this retarded shit? Like
Yeah.
I don't want to watch it, so I won't watch it.
So just turn it off.
It's just
Yeah.
it was so confusing, and it was just like I wanted to be in that chat because I was like, hey, maybe there's people that will offer interesting insight,
Right.
and maybe there's people who kind of have an angle on the sport, or maybe there's people who know the athletes, or maybe there's things that can
No,
be
it's
kind
not
of
that.
It's never that.
It's never that.
Oh man,
it's
was so
mostly
bad.
like incels talking shit about how the women look.
It's a lot of that. Yeah, it's a lot of that.
And it's people that would never do what these women do.
No, it's just and it's just dumb people. Like,
Yeah.
like Thor had already tried and missed for 501, and like hours,
hours.
the next day, people are like, "When's
Yeah.
Thor pulling his deadlift?" And it's like, "Holy shit, dude! Like, please keep up." Anyway,
Look it up, fuck.
Yeah. Anyway, so the deadlift, Thor went for the 501, didn't really get very close.
Oh my God, it was so funny. Like how he missed it and he puts it down and just goes, fuck!
So I was actually gonna say, for any amateur athletes or anybody up to that level, basically, that's the only time that it's appropriate to do that.
Yeah.
Because you'll see guys miss like a 600 deadlift at an amateur
Yeah.
competition, and just fuck, and just get like just so pissed.
Yeah.
You look like a fool, and the only time that you don't look like a fool is when you're Thor Bjornsson trying to break the world record.
Yeah.
That's the only
Like,
time.
any
that
other
screaming
time-
"fuck" out loud was kind of like funny.
Any other
and,
time
like-
you look like a virgin and you have to cut it out because
yeah,
I hate
yeah,
it.
it's not good. Nobody cares as much as you do, except for if you're Thor going for the world record. Then everybody cares.
In that case, everybody and their moms care.
Yeah, and
because
everybody
it's in the chat.
Everybody
Everyone
had
cares.
a collective. Oh fuck! When he dropped it, so
Yeah.
it
was
makes-
really awkward.
Yeah, it was weird.
It feels like you walked in on a fight or something.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
like the crowds. Like it wasn't like the oh man, like you gave it your best shot. It was kind of like oh fuck,
It's
you
like, oh
really-
man, this is so awkward.
you didn't do it. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I
It's like if you're at a friend's house and they're getting yelled at by their
Yeah.
parents or something.
I think a lot of people like I didn't really see him getting it. I think a lot of people really thought he was going to, and maybe that's what it was. It was just the air just left the room. And it was like
I mean,
ugh.
I don't know. I thought he was gonna get it.
You thought so?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know. Why not?
So next we had the overhead medley, which was
Wait, before we move on.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, never mind.
Great, thanks. So next we had the overhead medley, which was the start of Lucas really starting to creep up here. That was his first event win, and it was a very close event win. Like they added split times to this. With typically the pressing events are just points, they're just reps for points
Right.
at the Arnold's, but they added split times this one. So thank goodness they did because Lucas ripped through that thing.
Yeah.
It was the circus dumbbell. Not going to be a problem for him. A natural stone press, which was a problem for a lot of guys.
A lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of guys
Yeah.
and girls. And then the Austrian oak log for reps. For
Well,
max
and
reps after.
it's two logs. There's a lighter one and a
Yeah,
heavier one.
Yeah, which did add an interesting wrinkle to it that guys didn't really take advantage of. That you could get one with the heavier one and then maybe one with the lighter one to sneak that one extra point in there
Yeah,
if you
just
wanted
to break a tie.
Yeah, so
You also, if you hit the lighter log, you cannot move on to the heavier log.
yeah,
But if you hit the heavier
go,
log, you can go back.
you go heavy to low, but not low to heavy or whatever, light to heavy. So Lucas came in, smoked the dumbbell, smoked the stone, smoked 3 reps on the log, the Austrian oak. We
Insane.
saw him training for it, like doing like assault bike into the thing. Like, just really awesome training. That was just like, holy smokes, this guy is dialed in for this shit.
Yeah.
And it was just great. Him and Trey Mitchell were the only one to hit that many reps on the log. Trey did it a little bit slower than he did. Hooper didn't even get close. So that was...
Trey's a really good presser.
Trey's amazing. And so is... What? Oh, could you hear that? Oh, okay, I thought I stifled that enough. But like, say, like Evan Singleton, Bobby Thompson, these guys are all great pressers, but that stone.
Yeah.
That stone really messed with guys. Like, Bobby didn't even get past the stone.
It was like they greased it.
Yeah, like he could, like if Bobby would have if it would have been just the log, you could have seen Bobby in first or second place on that probably.
So, okay, with the stone, people would get the down command, and the stone would slip, let's say, and it wouldn't end up on the pad.
Yes, that was an important rule that the distinction they made in this one was that it had to land on the pad. So if you, which became a little bit more, I liked it for this. I didn't like it for the stone to shoulder, and we'll get to that a little bit afterwards. But you couldn't just like dump it or drop it, or if it went behind you or whatever, which I don't mind, because it's like if you're controlling it, if you have control, which you're supposed to have, if you're getting the down command, to put it from there to there shouldn't really be a problem.
To tip it forward,
or whatever. Like, it shouldn't really be a problem. Like I said, with the stone it was a little bit different, but we'll get to that. But I didn't mind that rule here, but it did mess with some people.
Yeah.
And we did see some missed reps for it. So I kind of like that as a rule for pressing in general, that if you have that under control, you should be able to put it there.
Right. That was like, some of those calls were heartbreakers, specifically for Sam. Oh,
Yes.
man, I cried.
This on the stone?
There was one on the stone, and
Don't get ahead of yourself. We'll get to the rest. But yeah, the stone, she had a rough call on that one.
Yeah.
So like
Mel.
Mel struggled with the stone as well too. A lot of the smaller girls struggled with the stone. Aaron Murray had a tough time with it. I'm just trying to pull up the. God damn it. Anyway, so the. Can you pull the ladies on yours? My phone just froze up. So the a bit of a controversy on this one too, and this is where me and Thrones had a disagreement on the referee's call on this one. Was Mitch Hooper pressed the stone with his head completely back like this, and got given the down command. So now I'm going to offer both sides of this, because I'm not so sure that I don't think, like, I have my gut feeling on it, and I'm not so sure that I'm willing to like die on the hill or anything. Which is, I mean, so the rules are your elbows have to be locked out, and you should be able to make eye contact with the referee. That's how through your head should be.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, no attempt was made to make eye contact with the referee when he's literally looking up at the ceiling.
Yeah.
But his elbows were locked out, and a lot of guys with the stones, when we're talking about like how narrow it is, they have a real hard time doing both those things at the same time. So you will see a lot of soft elbow lockouts. You will see a lot of like quick down commands, that kind of stuff with a natural stone or a block or whatever, compared to a normal press. So that's to be expected. And that was Thrones' argument on it, was that, well, if his head has to be through, then the guys who didn't lock their elbows, they shouldn't get down commands either.
Right.
And I can understand that. My argument would be that attempts have to be made.
Right.
So if you are trying to get your elbows through and mobility's stopping you, and your head's trying to get through whatever, and you're trying to make eye contact, you're at least making an attempt as far as your mobility will allow to follow the rules.
Yeah.
When his head was back like that, looking up at the ceiling, no attempt was being made to look at the referee. So that's where I would say that's a no lift. But and then the point that Thrones made, the only guy who would have had a good lift by their own standards would have been Tom, because his elbows were fully locked out. There's Thrones right there walking in. Tom was head through, arms were locked out. Everybody else had kind of a modified version of that. So
right.
I understand that. Like I said, it's not something that I'm willing to like really die on. But we had on the women's side of that one. Can you pull up the ladies' side? Yeah, on the ladies' side, Andrea Thompson really showing why she's like very deserving of this spot that she's been in. She's been kind of like middling the last little while, but this was a really good competition for her in general. Just a monster presser.
Yeah.
Olga Lashuk, same thing too. Like just showing up and being a real thorn in Ez's side the whole time this competition.
Yes.
It was really, really fun to watch.
And she also mentioned that she's a Masters competitor now too.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I actually didn't know that. And Angelica Jardine, Gian's picked to have the most fun this competition, but I don't think that she did. I think that somebody else did.
Do you think it was Gabby?
I think Gabby did.
I don't think Gabby was having fun on the second day.
I'd have to go back and watch.
I'm talking overall.
Okay, I'd have to go back.
I'm
and watch
pretty
it,
sure
'cause
I
she was
won.
having a blast the first day.
Yeah.
I'd have to check that back. But so that took us to one of the more controversial, probably the most controversial event of the whole competition. The timber carry.
Oh my God.
On both the men's side and the
Yeah.
women's side carried some controversy.
Yep.
So on the men's side, again, this is not one that I'm like 100%
I am.
with Mitch Hoopers.
Yeah.
Okay.
He dropped it like a foot before the line.
Hold on. So what you have to do is carry it up an incline. There's like a flat spot where you have to cross the line and drop it, whatever.
Yeah.
So now there was a couple of little things here. Trey Mitchell didn't pick it, was given a point for some reason. That shouldn't be. So if that would have came down to Trey winning or losing by a point, that would have been really fucked up.
Yeah.
Hooper, and I think it was somebody else too. I'm trying to remember who it was. Maybe Andrade. It was arguable that they had dropped it like the same place that Max dropped it. And Max was just more distinct because he got hurt and dropped it, whereas theirs was a drop and slide that went all the way through.
But if they had honored Max's the way they honored Hooper's,
Right.
Max would have had a world record.
Right. And so it's unfortunate that what I think Jeffers was the one who said that they need to, or I'm sure a few people said it, but I saw Jeffers say it, they need to extend that last running part so that guys aren't just getting up, dropping it, and sliding it across, because it's very unclear. There's a photo finish picture of Hooper where he's dropped it, and it's unclear as to whether it's crossed the line or not. I'm not 100% convinced that it didn't break the line on the other side, but from the angle that we're looking at, it's very unclear, which is not something that you want. You don't.
They
want
also
it to be,
had an angle from above where you can see his hands off the implement, and it is before the line.
Okay, well then I didn't see that one then. So there's that. So a little bit of controversy with that one, but I think on the women's side was really where things got a little messy.
That one got a little awkward.
So Rebecca Roberts used liquid chalk to carry the frame across. Not allowed. And I want to be clear on this here too, is that people will be like, well, who cares? I agree. Why would you not be able to use liquid chalk? I don't know. But you're not allowed to.
But these are the rules that they have agreed to.
Right. Then the yes.
It does matter because this is someone's earnings.
Oh no, I'm not saying that I'm just saying the rule itself.
Right.
I don't know why you're not allowed to use liquid chalk.
Yeah.
And I think that it doesn't really particularly make sense to me. I know that you weren't allowed to use it.
Yeah.
You weren't allowed to use a colored chalk at Strongest Man on Earth. Like there's just weird rules like that. But that's the rule. And that was the rule the athletes all agreed to. So while
you agree to it by competing in this contest.
Right. So while it might seem silly and it might seem just sort of superfluous, which it very well could be, it's still a rule.
Yeah.
So when she broke that rule, it was brought to the referee's attention, and the Arnolds made what I think is probably the worst choice they could have made in terms
There's so
of
many options.
how to deal with this.
Yeah.
I would have gone with a time penalty.
Yeah.
I would have gone with just it wouldn't have been very pleasant, but like a full disqualification of the run. If you've gone against the rules, you've gone against the rules.
Shittier things have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if they had her go again, which is what they had her do, and I wouldn't have gone that route, but if they had her go again, you pick the worst of the two times.
Yeah.
You pick whichever one is the longer, the bigger time.
Yeah.
So
but with her grip the way that it is.
Yeah.
It
was the first one was just a practice run.
Yeah. It was a warm up.
So that's what it is that I think that if you gave Inez a second run, I think that if you gave any of the women who really smashed it a second run, they go faster that second time. The nerves are kind of gone. They have a better understanding of how it works. And you're not going to be like, if like for someone like say Rebecca Roberts or Inez or whoever, or who are really good at that one, you're going to be fine to do it again, Gabby Dixon or whoever.
Right.
So now the precedent has been set, which is not what they will do. But this is the precedent that's there right now. Is that, let's say if Gianne goes to the Arnold next year and she carries the frame, she can carry it halfway up the ramp, get a feel for it, understand how it feels, get a little bit of a warm-up, let it go, and say, oh, by the way, I'm using liquid chalk. And they'll say, oh, shit, well, now you have to go again at the end of the competition after everyone's already gone.
Yeah.
That's the precedent that's been set by using that rule.
I don't think they're going to let that happen again.
They won't. But I'm not saying that that's what would happen, but that's the precedent, right? And that's very, very silly.
Yeah.
Which really just shows that was probably like the worst way they could have handled that, I think.
Yeah.
That's a really Bush League sort of
This is something they should have prepared for.
Yeah.
Like for every event.
What happens if there's a rules infraction? What's the protocol? And like I said, it was very Bush League to be like, oh well, I don't know, just go again, I guess. Like that's not using your fucking brain to figure out what the problem is.
Yeah. it should matter to them as much as it matters to the athletes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Also, that was a real nail biter with Inez because I know how much that means to her.
right. Yeah. Well, we everyone saw. I'm sure everyone's seen the footage of Inez from last year.
Yeah.
Where she took a big bite out of the frame
Twice.
And not only did she not do that this year, she set a world record that was dubiously beaten.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it at that.
Yep.
But truly outstanding run.
Yeah.
And a bunch of the women had really, really incredible runs. Like from the bottom three,
Yeah.
the really light women didn't finish it, and actually Nadia Stowers too. Like she's lighter too, but she did finish it.
Yeah.
And from all accounts, was not at her best this weekend. Was like sick and had a hurt leg, and she's just such a monster.
Yeah. Push through it.
So that was the timber carry. Now on to day 2. Now, if you would have told me when I first started Strongman that one of the most exciting events that I would ever watch in my 10 years in the sport would be a barbell press off of jerk blocks, I wouldn't have believed you. But this was a fantastic event.
Yeah, it was really fun. They got 4 attempts instead of 3.
Yes, so they got a little more time to get a feel for the whole thing, and it was awesome to see the women. Sam just barely missing that big one, but by going behind her head, like that was a real shame. But that's what's going to happen.
And she's so expressive. Like whatever she feels, you feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
through the
Oh yeah,
TV.
absolutely. Yes.
Like when she couldn't believe that it went behind her, because you have to be able to get it back on the blocks on your own if you want to attempt again. But it was on the floor.
Yeah, it's nothing you do about it.
Oh, that was really sad.
So that was one of those ones where we were watching in our living room, and me and Jeanne just sort of,
yeah.
like you said, like you can feel how Sam feels, and we were just like, the air just left the room in our house, and we were just like, shit, like that fucking sucks.
Well, especially with Max having to pull out of competition too. Like you just know that she's stressed on so many levels.
Yeah.
Honey needs to see her uncle.
1 second.
Okay. Yeah, like that was awful to watch because you could tell she really cares about her competition. And this is her event. Like she's a really good presser.
That was one that she was really looking to score big points, and she did.
Yeah.
She tied for 3rd, which is very good. Don't get me wrong, especially with how strong some of those pressers are.
Yeah.
And not to get too much into the sad part of it, because Inez just destroyed. It was like reminiscent of like JF Caron.
Yeah.
In the squad event at the Arnold, where she came in so late, didn't get pushed to her. She's like, I wanted to hit 400.
Yeah.
You know, and it's same with JF, where he's like, I was prepared to squat much more. You know what I mean? Like he was just
same. Both her and Lucas, we were making jokes, being like, he's probably still in the hotel room.
Yeah,
sleeping.
It was the guys had finished their attempts.
Yeah,
guys and girls had finished their attempts before
they haven't even woken up yet.
Yeah, it was awesome. So then on the men's side, Lucas just putting on an absolute lifting clinic with his split jerk. Putting up 247 kilos, much more in the tank.
He pressed heavier than the Big Show's ever been.
There you go. That's
That's context.
That's a Jeanne stat for you right there. Bigger than the Big Show has ever been. And he showed some of his. He showed his incredible ability. Also showed some of his personality, which I like too. Where he slammed it down and put more weight on that show. Whatever the fuck he said.
He's all day.
Yeah. He was.
My god.
It was really fun to see.
Talk about a tearjerker.
Yeah, and these guys just they really found an event where a lot of these guys they got better as the event was going on. Like Tom and Andrade, these guys were getting better with their lifts. I think that if they each had one more, they could have put a pretty big significant jump on both those.
They should have let them if they wanted to.
Honestly, it's just like just shoot till you miss kind of deal.
Yeah.
Because Trey Mitchell too, like these guys were just like putting up these you expected the more technical guys like Lucas Hatton and Mitchell Hooper, like the 1-2 makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But you expected a guy like Trey to be like, well, he's a very, very powerful presser, but there's too much technique involved in a barbell press compared to some of the other stuff. Nope, he is a monster with that too. Mm-hmm. Andrade was just getting better as he went. Thor came out of nowhere with a great pressing event. Like he's not known for his pressing, especially.
He's not a fantastic presser.
No, especially right now. But he just really showed up on this one. It was and that's what made it so exciting, was that it was just this high level of competition from all guys. It really brought out a really
and such big numbers for an overhead event.
Yeah,
too.
wild.
It was really cool.
Singleton didn't have a great one here, at least not in his mind. He's still at 232 kilograms, but you know, and you could start to see he was really deteriorating as the competition went on, like mentally. Like he was like,
well, not even just mentally. He posted it.
Yeah, he's like posting stuff on a story, like saying this isn't fun, and like I don't know, man. Like he's a very strong.
What a crazy thing to go on your phone while you're competing.
Yeah, I don't get that either. But like he's a very strong guy, and he just needs to like figure out that mental aspect, because it's just like
dial it back a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean it's an interesting thing though too, where it's like, I think that he's, you know, I don't want to say he's refused, because I don't know him well enough, but he hasn't fixed his technique in many, many years. His technique is really abysmal. He's just in almost all lifts, he's just exceptionally strong, like freak show, ridiculously strong. But here's the thing: is that like if we compare it to say like let's say jiu-jitsu,
right?
If there's two guys who are equally skilled in jiu-jitsu, the guy who's stronger will probably win.
Right.
Now, if we're talking about two guys who are equally strong, the guy who is better skilled will probably win.
Yeah.
So that's where we have these new wave of guys like Mitchell Hooper and Lucas Hatton now, and these guys that are like super technical, precise lifters. Just being dumb strong is not necessarily going to win you anymore. It's not going to carry you anymore. So that's something that he's going to have to kind of figure out, I think. But the Big Jerk, fantastic event.
Super fun.
More on that to come. I'm not sure if I even told Jan about this yet, but we'll figure that out later. Or I'll talk about that later. But we have the Timber Trial, which was an interesting competition, an interesting event too, where you carried logs with handles on it, like lateral or like horizontal handles as opposed to like the vertical ones, whatever. Parallel handles, we'll call it. Yes. Onto a sled, back drag. Lucas had hinted that this was going to be a good competition for him, and sure enough, or a good event for him, and sure enough it was, but there was just a lot of guys who were really good at it.
Really, really good at it.
The big guys really seemed to favor the tall athletes.
It favored the heaviest athletes because you just lean back and it starts to move.
Yeah.
You didn't have to push with your heels as much.
There's also like an athletic component to it too. Like if you pull up the ladies' side there, like say like Gabby Dixon, who's a big strong woman, like her body weight didn't assist her as much now as having a gas tank would have helped, I think, too.
Right.
A little more of one, like, and Rebecca Roberts just like manhandled that thing.
Yeah.
Thor destroyed it. Like he was moving at a completely different pace than the other guys were moving. When he stopped, it was moving so fast and stopped so suddenly that the logs like fell off and fell onto him. Like it was
also
sketchy.
I gotta say, because he fell onto his butt.
Yeah.
And he threw the handle and he celebrated.
Yeah.
You can't look cool celebrating when you fell on your butt like that.
From your little behind.
Hooray!
And then lastly, the Stone to Shoulder event.
That was a heartbreaker for the girls too.
And this was one too where, so the stone is tough because, like, especially when we're talking about like an Atlas stone instead of a natural stone, it doesn't have that flat surface for you to rest it on.
Yeah.
First of all, just balancing it is very, very challenging.
Yeah.
That's part of it. That's fine. But so much of it hangs on the back side of you that suddenly they had the same rule in place where you had to put it onto the mat in front of you. So now suddenly you're asking these women who are balancing, or the men too, but it happened a lot to the women, this giant stone on their shoulder to pitch forward and have enough of it on the front of their shoulder. Sorry, enough of it on their shoulder that's balancing, but enough on the front of their shoulder that when they pitch it forward, it doesn't roll off the back, which is what happened to a lot of women. A lot of reps were lost because they couldn't get it back onto the mat afterwards, which I think that rule is totally fine, but maybe not with an Atlas stone.
Maybe not with an Atlas stone. That one was a heartbreaker for a lot of women.
Yeah.
Because I think 2, maybe 3 women got the down command.
Yeah.
But they just missed it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because of the pad rule.
Like we're looking here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 women got 0 on that. And a lot of those women did get a stone to shoulder and did get the down command. They just couldn't get it to the pad.
Yeah.
So I would think that maybe a solution to that next year, I would say, would be go for like a natural or like a flat stone.
Yeah.
You know?
And as a woman too, like these stones are big.
Yeah.
These are heavy
big,
stones.
Yeah.
You just don't have the wingspan to keep it steady when it's on your shoulder.
Yeah. It was event, but it was
Yeah.
on the men's side. It was a little more fun to watch because they just kind of had a better control of it. Like
Yeah.
Austin Andrade taking the win on it,
Oh
and
my
just
God.
smashing 4 reps.
He
on
could
it.
go
Like,
on forever.
Yeah, and Lucas getting third, and again making Mitch work. He had to hit a certain amount to be able to. He had to get one with the heavier one to be able to win. So this is what I really like about Lucas though too, is that he's turning into. It's a lot like Mitch Hooper in this way, where when he walked, or sorry, let's say when Evan Singleton walked up to the heavier 405 stone, I had no idea if he was going to shoulder it or not.
Right.
I think that he can, but I don't know if he will. Now, when Mitch Hooper or Lucas approach that 405, I know that they can hit.
Yes.
I feel like I'm just like at peace where I'm like, oh, okay, Lucas is gonna hit the 405.
Yeah,
Like I just know.
There's no question.
No,
because he wouldn't have touched it if
he
he knew he couldn't.
He wouldn't do it if he didn't know he could do it. And he's like I said, they're this new breed of a very calculated athlete that I really like. I'm really enjoying watching. It's really, really fun. So to put a bow on all that, we had Inez Carrasquillo of Team RP 11 with the big win on the women's side. Super impressive. And then on the men's side, we had Mitch Hooper, followed by our boy Lucas Hatton in second place with a career baking competition. We already know that he has some big shows coming up, and he has every reason. Like he'll be back at SMO, and he'll be at Worlds, and he'll probably do the Rogue now, which I think will be a great competition for him.
Yes.
But he's now one of the guys.
Yeah.
He's now one of the big dogs who are a part of the scene.
He is where he should be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And we saw Nick Guardioni, who is the call up from the Arnold the pro. It was just the amateur last year, but now the pro am whatever. He had a good showing. It's just this is a fucking hard show, and I think that it's
just growing pains, right?
Yes, I think that he's a guy where if he comes back
he's very good.
Yeah, I don't see him being the bottom of the heap forever. I think that he just needs a little bit of time. It's a huge leap to go from the guys from this year. Andrew Burton, who won. We love Andrew. We met him in Iceland. Fantastic guy. Actually, I met him at the Arnold the year before.
I could listen to him talk forever.
His little Texas accent.
Yeah.
But I got to know him a little bit in Iceland, him and his wife, and they're fantastic and great strongman.
Yeah.
Super good strongman. But man, that leap from that level to the next one is gigantic.
Yeah.
And it's lucky that someone like Andrew won, who already has some big show experience, who's already very good. Because I think that if the Arnold Pro-Am was their first big show and they won, especially the way that this one was ran this year, that would be not good.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Andrew too. We forgot to say that earlier, but that's fantastic. Another note on this one too. I think that this might be maybe we might not see as much of Bobby Thompson on the big shows for the next little while. I don't think. I just don't think that he hasn't gotten his World's invite.
Right.
He's not performing.
He doesn't seem like he's having fun.
No. He's not performing at the level that you want to see. Like he kind of reminds me of Evans, like Tom Evans, where it's like they are ungodly strong. Don't get me wrong, but they just can't hold it together. Like they get hurt a lot.
Yeah.
And they're just not competing at the level that you want to see to keep getting these invites. And maybe he can kind of do what Novikov is doing right now, where it's like it was kind of weird not seeing Novikov at all these shows all of a sudden, but he's bringing it back to the gym. He's healing. He's getting better.
Healthy,
yes, and he's going to come back hopefully better and stronger than ever.
Well, Max withdrew, obviously.
I think that Max is somebody who might be needing a little bit of time like that too.
Yeah.
He has Worlds coming up. I don't know what his bicep will allow. Like I think that it looks some of the photos I saw, it looks pretty rough, but he would know better than anybody, him and his doctor. So we hope for nothing but the best for him. And but I think that we're going to start seeing a shakeup. I think that when we start seeing guys like Lucas Hatton and Austin Andrade making the noise they made at this competition, and bumping guys like Tom Stoltman and Bobby Thompson and even Evan Singleton all the way down to the lower half, that's a really big deal.
Yeah,
that's a really big deal, and it really shows that I think a lot of these guys, you look at say like Bryce Johnson, a lot of these guys who are doing really well at say OSG, they might be more prepared for some of these shows than some of these top guys are right now. So it's a very exciting time in Strongman. We'll see what the
We'll see
next,
some new faces sometime
see
soon.
what the next year brings. With Worlds having a lot of new faces will be very exciting.
Yeah.
So we want to touch on quickly here before we go. What do we got for time there, Jan? Oh, beautiful. We want to touch on the third event for Manitoba's Strongest Man and Woman. I changed the event. Did I tell you that?
No.
Okay, great. So, so it'll be a surprise to Jan too. So we have so far our Max Farmers. We have our keg toss, and we are going to add our pressing event today. Now, originally, me and Thrones had sat down and come together. Thrones is like the one guy that I know that I can trust to, like, he's a vault. Like, he's not going to...
Yeah.
Like, I would trust Dan too, but he's competing, so I can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, like, Thrones is not going to say anything to anyone because that's just
You didn't even say anything to me.
That's just how he is. So me and him had a sit down, and we came up with the idea for a press medley. 4 or 5 different implements, similar to what we had done in Grunthal a couple of years ago. And then we both said, you know what, like we made a change to what I'm going to announce now, and both of us said, like, I was just not inspired by that press medley. We'd done it before. I was going to use different implements, but that was one that we both felt was kind of like, I felt kind of lazy with that one. But you want to talk lazy. This one is even more so, but it's going to be better. The big jerk went so well at the Arnolds that we've decided that we are going to implement the big jerk at Manitoba's Strongest Man and Woman. It will be a max overhead barbell press off of blocks, split jerk, push press, strict press, whatever you want to do. I don't give a shit. We're going to see hopefully some real big numbers go up.
Tyler just got jerk blocks, and he really wants to use them.
Hey, if anybody doesn't have jerk blocks at their gym, I got him here. Again, I stress this, that any event that we have at any Strong Manitoba competition, if you don't have the equipment that you need to train for it, you can come to our gym for free if you're competing in the competition. And that goes for absolutely anybody. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. I try to think if there's anybody that doesn't go for it. No, that goes for everybody. Anybody can come in and use, if you want to use our Dinny rings for the Tolstoy, if you want to use our kegs for keg throwing, they're not out yet, but we'll have them in when it's nice out.
You want to plug in our treadmill?
Yeah, if you want to use it.
That's never been used before.
If you want to use our treadmill that no one's ever used before, you can use that to practice your farmer's carries, I guess. And
no, there's a weight limit.
And you can use our jerk blocks if you want to practice that too. So we're really excited for that. Get your numbers up, get your overhead press up, and we're going to see. We normally only have one max event in our Manitoba Strongest, but we're going to do 2 this year because I thought that was such a fun event. And I want to strike while the iron's hot on that one. We saw it at Strongest Woman in the West last year.
Yes.
And Anna did phenomenally in it, tying for first place in it. And I really, really hope that she can make it happen for Manitoba Strongest Woman this year because that would be a great event for her. So, quick rundown of the schedule that we got coming up this weekend. We have the log charity lift here event.
Hello.
I'm having a stroke. Log charity lift
event here at Iron Age.
At Iron Age Gym, right here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. If you're not signed up, get signed up. It's a really easy, fun day. Just you don't have to hit a max. You don't have to max out. Just come hit some fucking log pressing.
Yeah.
Hang out with the boys and the girls. Have a good time. Raise some money for the North End Women's Center. I said last time that we have actually a good registration of people. I'm very happy with it, but not enough of the actual Manitoba Strong Men and Women. Mm-hmm. Like we have a lot of like 62-year-old Baz. One of my clients is going to do it, and like people.
Should we mic him up for it?
Yeah. if for no other reason, come for him alone because he's a real spectacle. But we have a lot of people that are coming in who are not strong men and women competitively, and they're doing it. I'm not saying a ton of registration from the big bad tough strong men and women. So get the fuck on it.
For charity.
For charity, guys. Following that, June, we have already coming up. Wait, May.
April 12th.
May.
April 12th.
April 12th. Okay, I got way ahead of myself. April 12th, Selkirk, Iron Image, the best damn gym in the Interlake. We have our novice showdown competition going on. Registration's been really good for that one. I still want to see some more. Never enough for the novice show. We can always take in more. I will never cap the novice show. Maybe to my own detriment, but we want it to be a big.
We're gonna be there all day, baby.
Yeah, we want everybody to. Hey, no. It's gonna be a tight show. We want everybody to get a chance to compete who wants to. So I won't turn anybody away, but get signed up. We have May 10th. We have Tolstoy, our first SCC qualifier, Battle at the Border 3. I'm wearing my LC's t-shirt right now, actually. So
Also, if you're competing in Tolstoy and you're staying at the hotel, please lock your doors, because I walked into someone's room last year because I was trying to find the bar to go to the bathroom.
Oh.
And all the doors face the outside wall. And I just walked into someone's room, and I don't think anybody was in there, but...
This is a small town bar here, guys. They're a hotel. They don't have the fancy key, like the card lock thing, whatever, right? You got to make sure you lock that door behind you.
Yeah.
But that being said, we've had people who stayed at Elsie's and they say it's
very cute.
It's a cute little stay there when they stay and compete there. So if anybody's looking for a place to stay, please consider the hotel that's sponsoring us. And get signed up for that one. Registration's been good. We want to see more. We're seeing a very powerlifting style event here where we have 2 or 3 in every weight class, 1 in a lot of weight classes. We want to start seeing those fill up a little more so we can at least get a podium for everybody. June 7th. At the same time that Western Canada's Strongest Man is happening over in Devon, Alberta, we'll be having Western Canada's Strongest Masters, men and women. We have 1 spot, I believe, open on the men's side, and we have several open on the women's side. So if you're looking to get signed up, Allison Lockhart, get registered. We want to see as many strong and women of a certain age as possible. So we have that one on June 29th. We have one that I'm personally looking forward to. I'm not able to compete in it this year, but I'm really looking forward to being able to see who gets crowned this year. Manitoba's Strongest Man and Woman. Andrew Langelar and Jocelyn Grimolfson will be defending their crowns. We already have... I hope Jocelyn will be at least. We already have Andrew signed up. Jocelyn, get signed up. And it's going to be a real test of people's ability. And I'm really looking forward to it.
That's always a fun show.
Yep. It's going to be awesome. Invited Manitoba as a part of their Canada Day celebration. And July 12th, we haven't mentioned this one yet. Selkirk is having their Strong Mania competition, their very first SCC sanctioned qualifier. So if you're looking for another option to qualify for provincials and then therefore qualify for nationals, Iron Image got you covered. Great gym that's doing a competition out there. Go do it. It's gonna be really fun. I've been to lots of their powerlifting meets out there, and they take great care of their athletes. They really give a shit, and it's gonna be really good. I'm really looking forward to it. June, July, August 8th, we have provincials. I haven't got a poster or anything for that yet. Well, maybe I'll get started on that today. But it's going to be part of the Winkler Harvest Fest in, you got it,
Winkler.
It's one of our favorite places to compete. It was a great time there last year. And reminder, you can do provincials without an SCC membership. You cannot do nationals without an SCC membership. And you need to have your SCC membership before your first qualifier. So if you go to provincials and you win provincials and you're like, oh, well, I'll just get my membership now. No, you won't. This is not how it works. I'm sorry. I would love to do that for you, but this is not how it works. So you have to be registered before your first qualifier. So make sure you got fresh memberships. LC's does not have great Wi-Fi, and it's
going to cost you more because you're going to get charged roaming.
You're going to get roaming because we're so close to the border. So make sure you have that figured out before you get there. We will make an effort to make sure that that's possible for everybody. And then that's the end of the season, pretty much. Ooh,
North Americans.
The end of August, we have something coming up too. The second to last weekend in August. I'm ironing out the details of that exactly, but it'll be something a little different. It won't be a typical event or like a full competition, but it will be something
like middle of August.
August 23rd, I believe.
Oh, okay. Wait, I might not be here.
What the hell? Where are you going?
Smo.
Oh, right, you're competing at Smo. I forgot.
I gotta go bother the Raging Cajun.
That's right. You gotta go cheer on our boy, Josh Burgeon, the Raging Cajun.
And Lucas, whatever his nickname is that they've decided.
People are really intent on giving him a nickname.
Why does everyone need a nickname?
I don't know. I never got a nickname. I'm fine.
What did you say your nickname was? Like, oh yeah, every time I go somewhere, Gorilla Fat Balls.
Yeah. Gorilla Fat Balls is my nickname. That's right. That's what everyone calls me, at least. I don't know.
Tyler Gorilla Fat Balls Sigurdsson.
That's right. It just started when I was very young and strong. Man, I just stuck. So.
Right. Anyways, thank you for listening.
Hold on, before we no wait. Thank you for listening. We'll see you guys next week.
You're such a dick.